Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Godspeed TV. I'm your host, Riley Roseby, your navigating guide into the aerial economy. We're walking into the complete unknown. Let's dig into it because I posed a question yesterday in a post. Was that the tech reset? Well, yesterday's action could have potentially made the case for it. Today, you could say we're flip-flopping, right? We saw some weakness out there today. Here is the software chart, ticker symbol IGV. This is a software ETF retesting those lows from the tariff tantrum bottom, right? And that was a very, very strong capitulation mark that we saw some explosive moves coming after. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. But we actually made a new 52-week low close earlier this week. So we want to see if those prices can sustain themselves. Obviously, the software ETF being down just over 2.5% is not what we want to see. We're going to look for follow through, but so far so good because software has been the most beat up area within technology, right? Because this is the technology ETF, XLK, and it's a little bit different story. Now you can make a case for it being a little bit of a rounded top. We're starting to see kind of some distribution candles here. And you know what? Heading into the weekend, that was kind of where my head was at. I genuinely was thinking that we were going to see further moves to the downside. We had some follow through on the upside. And if we look at the broad market, you look at energy, you look at utilities, real estate, industrials. I mean, the Dow is charging at new all-time highs. It's above 50,000. I don't think technology is going to fall off a cliff. You know, JC actually made a great point this morning on the morning show talking about technology and that technology doesn't always have to lead, but we can't see it fall off a cliff. It can go sideways and eventually it will need to see an uptick again. But as long as it doesn't fall off a cliff, and so far it seems like we haven't fallen off that cliff. And here's a couple names just to reiterate, like, there is incredible strength out there. This is Corning, right? These are going to be a fiber optic play, making new highs. Look at that. Above those .com bubbles, bubble high. Absolutely incredible. This is a 3-month, so these are quarterly candlesticks, and it's just absolutely on a tear. GE Vernova, we've been talking about this one for some time, grinding higher, up and to the right. And then how about Lumentum? This thing just continues to plug higher. You know, hats off to anybody still involved in this thing. And not a sign that we should be selling stocks, right? Not a sign we should be selling stocks. So I put together this list. I'm going to be adding some more names to it over time, taking names away. It's really a living document. It's not go buy these stocks and we're all going to get, you know, massively rich. We want to curate the best names heading into the aerial economy, ushering in flying cars. That's where we're looking for. So these are some names that are enabling that universe. And you can see I have it sorted by their current price to the software close, which would be last Thursday. So I'm watching for relative strength coming off of these lows. And those are the names that we want to be pressing. Excuse me for that chart there. We have beta in the news once again. So beta was up about 15% today, 20% in the after hours yesterday after Amazon disclosed a 5.3 stake in the company. So we can see a nice little pop in the stock today. I'm not super impressed with this lack of volume. Now it is almost 3x, more than 3x the average 20-day average total dollar volume. But I would have liked to seen a candle a little bit more impressive like this one we got in late December, or I know it's wishful thinking, but some IPO looking prints on the volume would have been nice to see, based off of this news. But this is Amazon's third investment in beta. So they first got involved back in 2021, and they've slowly been ratcheting it up. Their value of this investment is like 300 million. So for a company of Amazon side, it's kind of peanuts. It's really not that big of a deal. But Amazon does know a thing or two about logistics. They're kind of on the forefront in that capacity, deploying robots, deploying drones. Now they're playing with eVTOLs. So we got to watch where they're going. We want to talk about Joby here. Similar situation to the software, although this coincided with that stock offering, got smoked. The software sell-off hit us as well. And here we are trading at the anchored VWAP going back to its IPO, which just so happens to coincide with the $10 listing price, right? 1010. How about that? So I got to think, if we're above last Thursday's low, you want to, that's your line in the sand if you want to get involved here. I think it's way too early to declare any single eVTOL manufacturer the winner. The way I'm thinking through this currently is this electric aviation wave that will culminate with flying cars. Like, we're probably in what, mid to late 90s of the cell phone market. When was the Wolf of Wall Street? Not the Wolf of Wall Street. I'm dating myself now. The old Wall Street movie. He's got a phone on the beach, taking a call, this big old brick thing. That's kind of what Joby Aviation, Archer Aviation, these eVTOLs, that current first iteration is going to be like. Over time, we're going to have second and third and fourth and fifth generation eVTOL, flying car, consumer products that I think are going to be a lot more interesting. So we want to keep an eye on the Jobies, on the betas, on the Archers, just for the overall health of this electric aircraft trend. Now, I'm speaking with folks left and right, and I got to say there's definitely something in the air as far as animal spirits go within aviation. So we have to keep that in mind. I'm focusing on the aerial economy, but let's take it down a peg, because the first step in the aerial economy is autonomy. And Uber and Lyft, they sure need a lift. So here's Uber making new lows. What does this go back to? May, late April, down 3.5% today. This was on Lyft's earnings report where they were down 17% today. And this is going to be a chart that I think is going to blow our minds. So this is a 3-month performance chart between Tesla, Uber, and Lyft. There is quite an interesting story being told right here. The market is pricing in Tesla leading robo-taxis, Uber and Lyft, significant drawdowns over the last 3 months. And we're going to see if that price holds. Steve in the chat from last week, he made a comment about telecommunications. So I wanted to bring a chart. And this has been an absolutely incredible sector, incredible industry group, firing on all cylinders. This is, again, a 3-month chart. So each one of these candlesticks represents a quarter, 3 months of trading. And for all intents and purposes, I am going to say this is an all-time high breakout. Now, some technicians out there might be throwing red flags left and right, because obviously we have these higher prices. But the volume was so minuscule back there when this ETF first traded that, yeah, there might be some buyers hanging on, and we might coincide with these levels to a certain extent. But the buyers are in control, and they are full in control. We see the massive accumulation going on here. And this is an incredible trend. Pull up the Verizon or the AT&T daily charts, and they just make you shake your head. Make you shake your head. So I got a fun new, I don't know if I want to call it a favorite stock. It's certainly the most humorsome, I think you could say. Solar, AI, and robots. What could go wrong, right? As JC likes to say. So we're going to be talking about Next Power, ticker NXT, and this is a intelligent solar energy solutions provider. And I put intelligent in quotes because this is just the AI revolution that we're living in. Everything is intelligent. It's the next generation of compute. We don't need to keep reiterating that. But Next Power posted some pretty impressive earnings. 34% year-over-year revenue growth, 20% year-over-year growth in gross profit. They achieved an investment-grade credit rating from Fitch and authorized a share repurchase program of up to $500 million in common stock over the next 3 years. Super compelling company. We're seeing the fundamentals really start to take hold, right? We're seeing that revenue growth that we want to see. 30% revenue growth, 20% growth profits. These guys are doing exactly what they need to be doing. And you can see the wide range of products and services that they have. I can't help but laugh. We're talking about solar, AI, and robots. And here's the chart. So we had a nice earnings gap. Gosh, what was this? 2-3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. And the stock has been trading in this range. I shared a few charts at the top of the program of some other earnings, post-earnings drifts, and these names are just gone vertical. And it's hard to get in, and there's really no good entry points. But here we have Next Power, and it's trading within its range. You know, if we are above 125, 126, shoot, you could even wait, let it get into the 130s. This thing looks like it's off to the races, and this is a classic growth stock story. This Next Power. It's in very hot industry groups. It's kind of at the confluence of multiple industries going on right now. I didn't bring this chart with me, but if you take a look at the solar ETF, anchor of VWAP, since its listing all the way back, I want to say in 2007, we are right at those levels, So solar is hot. The sun is hot. I know Steve, Sam, the rest of the team, they've all been talking about different trades within solar. Next Power is the horse I'm betting on. And we'll let this show play out. I do want to bring up this Applied Digital, right? This is another name we've been talking about. Massive base here. And if you could tell, I'm keeping a very close eye on it. All these little arrows here, these are alerts. Maybe I'm a little obsessive compulsive with this one, but this thing looks like it's about to go. And if the lid, you still there? Check 1, 2.
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. Thanks, Gene. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. Been having technical difficulties all week. If the lid gets taken off of this 40 level for Applied Digital, watch out. JC talks about the bigger the base, the higher in space, and this thing has got a base going all the way back to the early 2000s. Not a ton of volume, trading activity, obviously, but the price doesn't lie. Some additional heuristics in the aerial economy. Shout out to Danny Jassy over at the Stock Market TV team for bringing this one up. Apptronic closes over $935 million Series A with $520 million extension round. Some repeat investors include Bead Capital, Google, Mercedes-Benz, and Peak Six, alongside new investors including AT&T Ventures, John Deere, QIA, back Apptronic to scale production and deployment of Apollo humanoid robots. So these folks are looking to deliver robots, humanoid robots, in 2026 for a small price of $80,000, which for a industrial commercial use case, the math doesn't seem too far out of reach. It's going to be interesting to see who the first adopters are, not just the early adopters, but who the first adopters are. Obviously, these investors are going to be dabbling with this technology. And then what is the adoption rate look like? So this is pulled from the press release there from Apptronic. See the highlighting here, paving the way for its highly anticipated new robot set to debut in 2026. Now, I have a fun little company for you. I just stumbled onto it today, and I wanted to share because it got me so freaking excited. This is Reach Power, and Reach Power is a YC-backed startup, still private, not public. I don't think they're raising capital. This is not a solicitation to go invest in Reach Power, but this is absolutely mind-blowing. So it's electricity moving through the air, just like Wi-Fi. It's within reach. Great branding there. Absolutely great branding. And I'm going to be digging into this company. I'm going to be looking to connect with folks working at this company and trying to learn more about their technology. They talk about, they have a patent and their technology is patented. So they're not going to be able to give us the nitty-gritty details. But we know other folks were onto this kind of stuff way, way, way back in the day. So it seems like, although technology is accelerating at Godspeed, truly, feels like we're jumping back in time. Alrighty, folks, that is all I have for us today. Thank you for bearing with us on some of those fun technical difficulties. But if you guys could do me a huge favor, leave some questions for next week's show in the comments below. I'll be sure to get to them like I touched on with Steve's telecommunications chart. And as always, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to Stock Market TV. Be sure to check out the website. There is tons of great research every single day. You will not get bored. And these guys are the best in the business. It is such an honor to be a part of it. I'll see y'all next week. Adios.